Well, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to episode 7 of the Z Roll Podcast. We are your hosts, Justin and Lacey Zachman, where we explore life's adventures together.
Woohoo.
New intro, who dis?
And picture. Yes.
Yeah, it's happening, guys. We had a conversation at Burger King of all places this last week.
It breeds creativity apparently there.
But we also
a lot came from that meeting.
We also went there in the morning, so it's not even
French toast sticks.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we were waiting for Costco to open and the Burger King there was brand new, so we're like, let's just go in here and get a cup of coffee and talk about our videos and such. And I mean, oh my gosh, like that Burger King was beautiful.
It was fancy. If you watch our YouTube channel, we have a YouTube channel called Our Z Roll. You can see that Burger King in an episode coming soon because we showed it to you guys and it was
in the theater near you.
So fancy.
Yeah, it was.
Fancy BK.
Yeah, so in that Burger King, we're like, hey, we gotta start doing our podcast more.
Yeah.
Like let's have some biz talk here.
And we got really excited about something.
Dumping our French toast sticks in that syrup. We're like, this is ridiculous. So we are going to make a loose commitment to you. What does that even mean? But we're going to try to do our podcast twice a month.
Don't quote us on that.
Yeah.
No, but we really are. We got really excited about just some things because I think sometimes you overthink, and then we were just having these roadblocks and we both got past those. And so we're like, okay, this is exciting now. So
yes.
Very cool.
Very
Conversations at BK.
BK, have it your way.
You rule.
Is it, I was like, let's go. But it's your rule.
Let's go. Is it your rule? I don't know.
We're obviously going to
the boys probably know.
Burger King's going to be like, hey, you can't do that. Anyway, anywho.
Yes.
We are going to start with our icebreaker. And
we're
going to get into the topic for today.
Yes, we are.
But first off, we're drinking coffee.
Oh, so Justin, thank you, by the way, because you made this happen today. I was like, before you come home today, can you please stop at Fred Meyer and get the Starbucks pumpkin creamer, because they were out everywhere else. I tried to get it.
It was there. There was actually only 2 left.
So good.
2-ish left. I think if I remember correctly, there was only a couple left.
And you usually don't do creamer, and you did it today because
I will always do pumpkin spice.
It's
just
amazing.
A couple times in the season. I don't go ham.
I know.
Because I'm not like super into creamer, but I can get behind this. Also, we got a new Keurig in our studio, and it's an updated version, and there's an intense setting. There's like a robust setting, and there's also an intense setting for bold coffee. And when it brews, I've never smelled coffee like that before.
Strong.
Like the entire studio is filled with coffee smell, and it lingers, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it tastes really good out of a Keurig.
For a Keurig, this is very close to brewed coffee, I would say.
Good job, Keurig.
Because the settings, it said like strong, bold, rich. I was like, whoa, it keeps going. And then robust, and then intense. Like, it just kept going. So we obviously went to
intense. It's just an intense thing.
It's good.
Okay.
All right. Let's do a little icebreaker, and then we're going to hop into today's topic. Okay. So our icebreaker today is a would you rather. Would you rather have unlimited travel without money, or have unlimited money but never get to travel? Justin, Zachman, what would you rather do?
You want me to do this first?
You're up.
I would definitely say no money and unlimited travel.
Yeah.
100%. Hundo P.
I feel like somebody would be giving me a sentence, like it would be feeling so penalized if somebody said, here you go, here's all this money, but you can't travel. I would be like, I'm chained. I would feel so sad and stuck. What a sad feeling to not be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I agree with you on that.
I honestly, travel when I think about that, I think of Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like all he wanted to do was go travel and tour the world, and he was stuck in Vegas.
Stuck in Vegas, man.
Like, he had all the money.
Dang.
He had all the fame. He had all that stuff, but he literally was in Vegas.
I love Tom Hanks in that movie. It really made me not like Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think of, and I'm like, oh, that's dumb.
Yeah,
like, I think part of the travel, I mean, money's great when you come to travel because you can buy things, obviously.
Yeah.
You can experience cool things, really nice hotels, food, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the essence of traveling for us, anyway, is to explore and see things with our eyes. And a lot of things you see that are free.
That is very true.
You know,
a lot of our favorite memories.
Unless you go to Disney, which is definitely not free. But actually, funny story though. When I was in college in California, my best friend, his aunt, or his grandpa and grandma, lived in Anaheim, and their backyard was a perfect viewing for the fireworks. And so we would go there all the time just to watch fireworks. It was free. So you can get some Disney experience free. For free. Little tip there, you guys. Just go to his grandparents' house and knock on the door like, hey.
We'll put the address down in the comments below.
Yeah.
Broke the ice.
The ice has been broken.
Let's get into today's topic.
Okay, today's topic is parent drama. Okay, so we want, this whole podcast is pretty much what we do, I would say, on a YouTube channel, but we'll kind of go in more depth over maybe scenarios or stories that have happened in our life. Actually, we kind of rewrote our description for our podcast, because we kind of again at Burger King, as we're dipping our French toast sticks in syrup, we came up with just kind of not rebranded, but just kind of in a way to kind of simplify what our podcast is, a vision statement, if you will. Yeah. And so we came across saying, basically, started as a travel lifestyle vlog in 2008. We're diving into topics from faith to parenting, travel, marriage, and even a sprinkle of Disney magic. And it kind of, that's pretty much our channel. Yeah. But like Lacey said, I felt like we were trying to, I don't know, we're finally starting to kind of, figure this podcast thing out a little bit more. Yeah. Well, yeah. And we talked about when we started this podcast, we wanted an area, platforms, I guess you'd say, just to, talk more about different things, and you'll get bits and pieces of that in our YouTube channel and our videos. And so this is a really fun area. And I think, putting that down, and we're like, wow, this is already what we're doing, but we get to, dive in a little bit more. Yeah. And so, yeah. And just talk more. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just so we can talk. We just want to talk, guys. We just want to talk at you guys. Anyway, so topic is parent. Yeah. Sorry. Speaking of talking at you guys, well, with you guys too. Another thing we would love to incorporate, and we got this idea from Tyler and Jessica Braun, the Disneyville podcast. Their podcast is awesome, guys. It's so much fun. If you guys have ever heard of it. Love listening to their podcast. It's called Disneyville. Yes. Did you say that name already? I did say that. Oh, cool. But at the end, they share a review. Is that what it's called? Why does that sound weird to me? Yeah, podcast review. Yeah, and we thought that was really cool. I was like, hey, we're going to start doing that so we can incorporate you guys a little bit more. Yeah. Right, and so we'd love to read you guys' reviews. So please, with that, leave a review down below. Well, we have to have reviews in order to read them. So if you listen to this on on Apple, leave a review or Spotify, whatever. Yeah. That would be awesome. We appreciate that. Yeah. So, all right. So next time we do this, our podcast, we'll hopefully read one of your reviews. Woohoo. So we appreciate it. Can't wait. Okay. Here we go. Okay. We're diving in. Parent drama is the topic for today. And again, this was from a real life scenario that happened about a month ago. So let's go from the beginning, shall we? The very beginning. So Landon was in football. This is the story. Landon was in football last season, the spring season. And I was coaching. I was head coach. Great time. Had a great coaching staff. It was fantastic. We did really well. We won a lot of games. We came across this one team, and we beat them. Everything was good to go. We ended up playing them a little bit later in the season, and things got a little hairy. I don't use that word lightly. That's a nasty word. I don't really like it, but I say it because it did get hairy. Experience was terrible, really. There was a lot of just we won, but through that there was just a lot of their coaching staff was not kind to our coaching staff. Let's just say that. And it's the heat of the battle. We're competitive. We're coaches. It happens. But then we played them another time, and it was just all around no one wanted to verse them, challenge them. No one wanted to compete against them, is what I should say. Even the parents were just like, oh my gosh, we don't want to compete with these guys, because they were just kind of just a different style in a way, but they were definitely just kind of rude to our coaching staff and frustrated, and they were losing. Yeah. And that just happens. But I just didn't really appreciate a lot of that, and it was just frustrating. Like, we just don't want to play football. I mean, like, this is like Pee-wee football, and I'm like, give me a break. Let's have some fun.
Right.
And yeah, we were winning, so whatever. But it got out of hand, and it was just frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember the whole way home to Lacey, I was just kind of venting the frustrations, and we went to pizza afterwards, and even my parents were there, and they were talking about how just like frustrating it was for this coaching staff, and just, you know, it was just a terrible experience.
Yeah.
Even though we pulled out the W, it was awesome. It was still just like that overshadowed the season.
Yeah.
You know, and so anyway, we're done with the season,
right,
and all that kind of stuff. I decided not to coach again.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it had to do with that experience.
Yeah. Fast forward. I'm going to take over for the story, part of the story. I'll take part B. Fast forward to now. Landon's now playing fall football, and we, you know, don't know whose team he's going to be on or any of that. We just get the email saying, hey, here's your team, here's your coach. See you at practice. So we got that. And guess whose team he's on, baby?
Boom. Yes.
That coach's team that we didn't have a good experience with. So Landon remembers the scenario. He remembers playing them. He remembers.
I want to preface something. This coach was not frustrated at the kids by any means. He didn't say things to the kids. Like, you know what I mean? It was mainly to us, the coaching staff. But Landon, obviously, he picked up on that.
As well as other kids on the team.
Because, you know, like little ears around the house, and I'm just talking about our experience of that game, and Landon's just kind of like, well, why? Like, what did he say? You know what I mean? And so Landon knew exactly who this coach was, and he's like, I don't want to play for this coach. Yeah. That's what Landon said. And but it was mainly because I said he's not playing for that coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
your view of him was not the greatest.
Wasn't good.
We didn't have good experience with this guy. So now we're like, okay, so what do we do now? Landon wants to play football. And if you guys don't follow us on YouTube and you're just listening to this today, our son, you'll see if you watch my vlogs, he loves football. It's not just, you know, just a little hobby of his. He is like, I'm going to the NFL.
He practices,
every day.
All the time, like hours.
All summer long, he's talking about fall football, like, you know, just absolutely stoked to play this season.
He loves it.
So we're like, what's our options? Let's call the league. Let's see if we can get him switched because he wants to play football. League says, nope, there's no switching. They are completely full on every other team. There's actually a waiting list for kids to be on a team. Yep. So Landon is either out for the season or he's on this team. Thank you and goodbye. So we're like, okay, well, he's not playing football.
Yeah, and that's what we said. So we had the conversation on our back porch because we're like, what do we do? Landon was at school, and like his practice started that day. We had to make the decision like literally that afternoon.
Yeah.
If we're even gonna take him to practice.
Right.
And it was his first practice, and so Lacey, what do we do? I'm like, well, he's not playing. She's like, yep, I agree. And that was it. And so I went back into the studio here, and I was just doing some other work on some stuff. I think I was replying to comments or like uploading a video or something like that. And I came across an old video of him playing football from last season. And I was just watching how excited he was and whatever. And it just dawned on me. I'm like, you know what? And this is the topic of the podcast. I am letting my drama affect Landon. Like Landon, like this whole drama and issue is between me and the coach. It wasn't between. It was a different story if he was being like mean to the kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Because we want to protect and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it was between me and him, and I basically I'm letting at this point my drama like overflow into Landon's like, you know, football season.
Yeah. Because
I had a bad experience, therefore you're not going to have an experience, Landon, because I had a bad experience.
Right. Exactly.
So.
And you came out, I remember, from the studio and just sat down and just kind of like, you know, had this revelation, if you want to say, and said all that. And I was like, wow, I completely 100% agree with you. Like, Landon would be completely crushed to know he's not going to play this season. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, if we share with him, you know, our basically perspective of, you know, going into this thing with our perspective as coach and the experience we had, but showing him we all make mistakes. Yeah, he got a little angry or upset, but do we do that? Yes. Has mom and dad ever done that? Yes. You know, have you done that, Landon? And showing him, you know, people make mistakes and we have to give second chances. So we're able to have that conversation with him.
When Lacey and I went in there and had that revelation, whatever, I told Lacey, I'm like, look, this is the thing. Like, I started like literally writing down things I appreciate about this coach. And that's weird because I did not really like this coach.
Right.
And so, but I had to like look past that and be like, this is dumb. Like, this guy deserves a second chance. Like, I don't know his story. I don't know anything about this guy. All I know is the heat of the battle. And that's why I wrote down. Like, look, this was the heat of the battle. And we say stupid things and do things when we're competitive.
For sure.
And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, that is a pro. He is a competitive coach.
He wants to win.
And I want him to be competitive. I want Landon to be on a team who wants to win. Yeah. Not a team who just doesn't really care. Right. So that was one of my things on my list. I'm like, you know what? I started writing some good things that I saw, and the list was kind of small because I don't know the guy too well, and not to say that it was small, it's because I don't know him. Exactly. But it was just like the whole reasoning was like, well, I had a bad experience. So yes. So then Landon came home. We talked to him, and that's what we said. Like what Lacey said, we sat him down and said, hey, look, like, do you want to play football? He's like, yeah, but I don't want to play for that coach. I'm like, well, the only way you're going to play football is playing with that coach. Right. And he's just like, I don't know if I want to play. And I was like, well, why? He said, well, because he was mean to you. Yeah. And I was like, Landon, I was like, you know, have you, like Lacey said, have you lost your temper? Yeah. Has mom and dad lost their temper? Yeah. I'm like, but we still forgive each other. Right. And he started seeing that, like, oh yeah, like, we do get, and Lacey's like, we give second chances. Right. You know, we don't just write someone off because of one thing. And that's kind of what I've kind of like realized this last, I don't know, maybe year, is it all started with this. Let's just go here. Okay. Another story time. Okay. I was driving, Lacey was in the car, and I accidentally, I'm going to say accident because some of you guys are going to be like, oh my gosh, you do this, but it was an accident. I cut in front of somebody. Okay. That's a horrible thing. It really is. Like, it's frustrating, whatever. Yeah. But I literally rolled down my window and I waved out and I was like, I am so sorry. Like I said, I'm sorry. You can mouth it, whatever. I'm like waving like this. And the guy looks at me and just flips me off. And I'm like,
mid-apology.
Bro. And I rolled out my window and I was like, I'm like, there's no grace anymore.
Absolutely not.
No one has grace. And so I realized, we live in this canceled culture. And yes, you may think cancel culture is something else, and it is that too. But what I'm trying to say is we live in this cancel culture of we don't have grace for people. Someone does something wrong and we write them off.
Exactly.
And I'm not talking about boundaries and stuff. And sometimes you have to set those for people.
Yeah. If there's somebody, this is totally different topic, which we've talked about.
Different context.
Yeah. Context of like somebody who's constantly causing havoc or hurt or a toxic environment in your life over and over and over and over. That's not what we're talking about. It's more of, we had this incident with, a 20-30 minute game with this coach and we're like, nope, not again, because of how you acted, or just like what happened with Justin, you make a mistake. You're like, nope, not even gonna say, accept your apology. Just that kind of mentality of people, you don't even know them and you just write them off, like so quick to judge. Right. And it's so sad that people don't get, second chances or get a chance to even explain.
It doesn't happen. Like
something you always talk about, I love too, is how you say assume positive intent. And we don't do that.
Assume positive intent. Assume positive intent. Right. We don't do that. And I'm like, if we learn to assume positive intent with people, we wouldn't be in this cancel culture of like, oh, I'm never talking to you again because you talked to me bad after a game. Like, it's like, what? Yeah. And so then what was happening is we were teaching that to Landon. We were teaching that, because he did something wrong that one time, we never talk to that person or look at him. Yep. Or we're not on his team. Exactly. We're not fans of this guy. Whatever. And we don't even know his story.
Not at all.
Like, and I'm like, and this is something that really hits home with me is because what happened? When did we lose this whole mentality of being curious about people, curious of their story? Right. We can judge someone without even talking to them, thinking that we know everything about them when we don't even know anything about them. We have no idea what their story is. Right. We don't give them a chance.
I know this is a really silly example, but I always think about that one guy that you were in a meeting with at Apple And he was like looking at his phone. Do you remember where I'm going with this? And the manager's like, got so mad at him. He's like, you got somewhere else to be? And he's like, oh, my wife's going in labor, so I have to have my phone on me, or she's pregnant or something. And then the manager felt so bad. You know, I was like, I always think of that because sometimes I'm so quick to judge somebody. I'm like, oh, I can't believe they would do that. He already
talked to a couple of us, and he
heads
just
up.
Know, like heads up. Like my wife is going to labor or whatever.
So I just gotta keep my phone on me.
Whatever.
Yeah. But somebody who just didn't know
didn't
that.
assume positive
just
intent. Like
went off on him because looking at his phone.
Hey man, is everything okay? Like,
I noticed you looking at your phone.
Like, oh yeah, my wife's in labor, but it was like, hey, blah, 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 blah. And he's like, bro, like my wife's in labor or
possibly, yeah, like they were in that
so funny
season. But anyways, I think about that a lot too because I'm like, we don't know that person's story. I know that's a silly example. We don't know where that person's coming from. We don't know that person's day. We don't know. Like, I would feel bad, if we all have our moments, if somebody was quick to judge me, if I was they saw me in a light for 5 minutes and I was like not in a good place. And they're like, oh, that's Lacey. That's who she is. Not, I don't want to be friends with her or I don't want to be around her.
It's so messy.
Yeah.
And so, my background, I used to be in customer service and all kind of stuff. And what I would tell people in that is saying like, look, you do not know what happened the last few hours of their day. They come in and they're like raging at you, which is not, we're not saying that that's right, but it's like, you don't know what kind of day they've had. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so anyway, there's a whole topic of conversation in that of, but forgiving people, being curious with their story, second chances. So that anyway,
positive intent.
We had this conversation with Landon.
Yeah.
And he got it. He's like, that makes sense. I think that I understand that. And so, this is the thing. We are every day is a new page in our story that we're writing, right? We're learning stuff all the time. And so we're learning things. And so this is why we love this podcast because we're like, hey guys, we learned something here. Like this is something that a real life scenario that we had to work out.
Yeah.
And we were just kind of like, look back, like, man, that's awesome that, in a way we kind of saw that. That way Landon can play football and we just didn't let our drama affect him playing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I look at it now, like how selfish would we have been?
Right.
But I'm like, we do that a lot.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean? And it just kind of puts a different focus, I think, with all this. It's just like, is it just my drama? Am I being selfish here? Mm-hmm. So let's talk about what's happening today.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about?
Sure. So Landon went to that practice that night and he was like a little leery, but the coach was so warm, so welcoming. He had the best practice. I remember walking away. He was just like so excited and just, on cloud 9, like, I can't wait for the next one. Like, I can't wait to come back. And that was just, day 1. And ever since then, like, he's just been blossoming. Well, like
that day was important because we even told, because he was still kind of weary about it, but we said, hey, look, just go to this one practice, give it a chance,
and
see
you
if you like it. You make the decision,
right?
All that kind of stuff. And he my coach so nice, blah blah. And I didn't go to the first practice. I took I took Tucker to swim lessons because I told Lacey, I'm like, look, I already made I'm already letting him go. I just need at least one practice, just not to see him yet.
Yeah,
give me some time.
It was good that we were able to be like, okay, look, like after we gave the whole spiel about talking about second chances, whatnot, but then still telling Landon, like, you make that decision though. Like, this is we know you want to play football.
But we told him though, we said, but we want you to have an open heart with
exactly
this. Like, don't go into last year pretend this is you're just meeting him the first time, because you really are.
Yeah.
And that was cool because he made the decision of having an open heart and realizing through all of the stuff he knew, realizing that he was a nice coach and he liked his coach. Oh, one thing I want to say is it's so easy for us in this cancel culture, like, not forgiving people, to ruin someone's reputation. And I could have ruined this reputation for Landon, this coach's reputation for Landon. Yeah. And so saying like, look, go in with an open heart. Don't think of anything that happened last year. And that was cool because now his reputation wasn't ruined.
Right.
I just think our tongue we have messed people, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
It can so easily destroy somebody.
I mean, the book of James talks about our tongue, and it's a dangerous thing, but like we can ruin people's reputation, and shame on us for that, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, whole nother story, but anyway, he loved it.
Yeah, absolutely loved it. And he's been, not to toot like our kid's horn or our horn, whatever. He's been on fire this season.
Number one, I don't know how to toot a horn, so I'm just saying.
He is playing so well. Like the coaches actually told Justin he's like one of their top players.
Well, this is the funny thing. So finally I went to practice.
Always playing.
A couple
offense,
days later.
Defense.
So I went to practice a couple days later, and the coach comes up to me, and I was like in the back with my sunglasses on, just kind of like reading a book, just like that, just trying not to be part of anything. Yeah, I'm just like, I just don't really want to have a conversation. Yeah, I'm not there yet. He literally calls me out by name. He's like, Justin. Hey, Justin. And I was like, he knows I'm here.
He knows me.
Oh my gosh. And so I get up there, I shake his hand, and he looks at me, and and this is maybe just a guy thing.
Yeah, but I was about to say that too. I'm like, only guys could do this.
We don't have to say a lot of words to each other to know, like,
hey,
look. And so this is what I saw. I feel like Michael Scott when he's just like, he's talking about like, he was like, hey, it's cool.
It was cool. We're good.
Anyway, so he looks at me, and you can just tell like there wasn't like tears in his eyes, but his eyes were just kind of like worried looking. And he looked
like,
at
we cool.
Yeah, and he looked at me kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, hey, Justin, and it was like a little pause, and it was almost just like, I'm like, I screwed up last year. It was almost like that. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying he said that, whatever. I seriously feel like Michael Scott right now.
Right.
But it was this moment where it was like this humbling moment on both of our parts.
Yeah.
Is what we felt. And then he looks at me. He said, I just want to say that your boy is like the all-star of our team. He's going to be first string. He's our wide receiver. No matter what someone throws, he catches. Like, he's going to get a lot of playtime this year. And it was just so funny because I called Lacey afterwards. I'm like, this is hilarious. First, he wasn't going to be, we didn't want him on the team.
Yeah.
Then we put him on the team, and we were worried about, the relationship with the coach, whatever. And now the coach is like, wow, like my enemy I was last year, which was Justin, his boy on my team is one of my all-star players. And it's just so funny how it all went around. But it's so cool because like this coach is actually really cool. Yeah, yeah. And we've actually really liked him, and he communicates. He asks me about plays, and he talks to me about all kinds of stuff on the sidelines. And
he's an amazing administrator.
He really is.
He's done everything, his communication. He's pretty, and I say this as like with teachers, there's very different styles of teaching, right? You got more like, just kind of more strict teachers. There's a little bit more free spirited. Everybody's kind of their style. This style of this coach, he's tough. But Lannon's responding to it so well. Lannon's loving it. Like, he's very like, nope, like does not have time for nonsense. And Lannon's like loving it.
Lannon,
he's
like
a Mr. Rule follower though.
Yeah, he's that, but he also loves football. And he just wants to know like black and white.
Exactly.
Like, is this yes or no? Like that's and that's what the coach does.
Yeah.
And he's really responding well. And that's another thing we told Landon is like, look, if you're gonna play football, you're gonna have all different kinds of coaches, but you need to go play football because you want to play football. And so he's realizing that, like, there's definitely different styles of coaching out there, but he just loves playing the ball, playing the game. And so he's going to respond well to coaches because he likes playing football.
Exactly.
So
it's just cool. And like looking back, like how sad if we, it's
totally.
Your decision quality, your decisions you make, like they don't just affect you. They affect everyone. They affect your kids, especially. But as parents, like if we would have made that decision, like, nope, we had a bad incident with this coach. He was a jerk, whatever. You're not playing for him. Like looking back a month now and seeing Landon just kind of like puts in around like knowing other people are playing football and he's not because of our like selfishness of our opinion. How sad would that be? Yep. You know what I mean? Because we could have easily been on that other end of the spectrum if we, wanted to stay in that zone of like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, selfishness, bitterness, or just like not giving another chance.
I think a lot of it is like you justify it. You know what I mean? And I justified it hard. Yeah. And I think you can justify anything. Yeah. You just can. And so having to come to realization that, that you are a selfish person and you are wrong. And, and I think that's the thing is like, always coming to that moment of like,
it takes humility.
We mess up, we sin. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so, and that we don't have the best decisions all the time. Yeah. We don't make those. And so I think sometimes whenever I make those kind of decisions, I think Lacey knows this too, is we make a decision, but I think she knows like I can make a decision, but sometimes I will go away and isolate a place, and I'll come back with like an entire different look on it, because sometimes I just need to get it out and vent, and then come back and actually think about it in an isolated place. And then I'm like, I start realizing, wait a second, is this just me? Like, because me stinks, you know what I mean? Like, I have to make a decision for, you know, Landon as well here, like, you know, and there's decisions are ripple effects, right?
Yeah,
it's like throwing a rock in a pond, and it ripples out, and so your decisions, you know, affect others.
Right.
So
absolutely. And I think about that. I mean, now Landon, you know, he's 7 going on 8. You know, he's very impressionable, but the older he gets, the
now
more
I have Sound of Music stuck in my head. Dun, 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 dun,
16,
yeah.
going on 17. That's all I know. But he's also very in tune with things like around him. That's just his style. So the older he gets, I feel like the more he's going to be aware of our thoughts, our perceptions of people, our experiences. And so I think this whole topic of parent drama, just really being careful that that's not out, you know, overpouring onto him and his view of things. So it's like, it's really easy to do.
Yeah, like he doesn't get like secondhand smoke, if you will.
Yeah.
From our drama.
Right.
And stuff. So like we got to figure this out on our own, because we don't want our drama to pour into kids, and then they have a different outlook.
View. Yeah, he has a different outlook and view on things that could be off.
Again, like parent drama. There it is.
There it is, you guys. And let us know, like, how have you guys, you know, if your parents dealt with this, or if you're not, like, you know, we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, because I think this is an area.
But maybe if you're not a parent, like, have you been affected by, like, just someone else's, like, you know, drama or whatever that kind of like they kind of
poured out onto you?
Yeah. Kind of got spun in the orbit of drama, kind of a thing, and you got affected by that.
Right.
Anyway.
And because it can be, you know, damaging in that way. So we'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on that, and just your opinions and everything. So I hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, you can watch this on YouTube. We have a YouTube video podcast. Just a video podcast. You can find, you know, obviously, if you're listening to it in your car, you've already found us. Congratulations, you did it. But that's where you'll comment. If you want to comment, you'll go to the video podcast on our Z Roll on YouTube, and comment there. Also, like Lacey said in the beginning, we are going to read a review. So please hop over to Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts and leave us a review. It'll really help the podcast. It'll get it out for people to see. It'll recommend all that kind of good stuff. And we're serious about it. My gosh, we got serious about it at Burger King with our French sticks. French toast sticks. Our French sticks. Our French toast sticks.
Sounds pretty good.
Anyway. Yeah. We love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Anything else you want to say? Any parting remarks? Any wisdom?
No.
No?
You're the one with all the wisdom.
No, I literally, we just talked about my poor decision quality. So I don't know.
I think that's everything. This is cool to talk about, and I feel like more to come. I've just, you know, it's kind of cool. We were talking about like things we go through in life, obstacles, like, you know.
Oh, should we talk about our next podcast? What that's going to be?
Yeah. No, I remember.
Is it? Okay. Well, again, don't quote us on this because we may change our mind, but we're going to talk about time management and work ethic, but the biblical view of that. Yeah. So really excited about it. Just talked to our young adults about it the other day. I'm like, this would be a good podcast because it just talks about, I love like productivity. Yeah. I really do. Like, I love like time management and finding different ways and systems and routines to make things, you know, roll better. Right. And so, but this is kind of like the biblical view. There's a lot of verses that support, you know, just good time management. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that is everything, everybody. We love you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.